We're going to do a little bit of local forecast here now. For the first time ever in the Live Impact studio, we have Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis. Many report the weather. Tim makes the weather. Tim.
Wow, that's a bold intro.
That's what the chief does. No, you create the weather.
I create the forecast. I don't create the weather.
Forecast.
Yeah, I interpret the forecast.
You interpret the forecast. Yeah. And that interpretation has shown you weather impact alert today.
Weather impact alert. We're under it right now. So we've got an outlook for this afternoon for some strong and severe thunderstorms. Now, if we look at radar right now, there's just nothing going on. It's nice and quiet. We weren't expecting anything to be happening this early in the day. It's really the window of opportunity opening up from 4 p.m. through around 11 p.m., maybe even a little bit later. Now, all hazards are still on the table here. We've got heavy rainfall, gusty, damaging winds, possibility of an isolated tornado, although the highest threat for those has shifted much farther to the west. So that's some good news and improvement there, and as well as frequent lightning. That's a symptom of our high humidity that we've got in place right now, and that creates more ice crystals in the top layers of the clouds, more collisions, more electrical discharge, and you get the lightning strikes there. So we're going to likely see that later on. But right now, things are nice and quiet, Connor, but we do have a level 2 out of 5 threat. I do want to bring to your attention that the Storm Prediction Center kind of puts out like a precursor to if they're going to put out any watches, and they're called mesoscale discussions. And you can see there is one issued for our northern areas, but pretty much all Virginia cities and counties are under this mesoscale discussion. And this kind of gives us some insight behind the scenes of what the Storm Prediction Center is thinking going forward, how things are playing out in real time. And this particular mesoscale discussion says that there's about an 80% chance that we're going to be under a severe thunderstorm watch here in the short term, likely for all of Virginia cities and counties from later this afternoon through this evening. Again, no watches are out there right now, and I also really want to drive home that a watch is not a guarantee for severe weather. That means that the atmosphere is favorable for severe storms if the storms develop, and that is the big if. We're going to have to watch this afternoon because some of the latest models, Connor, split the storms to our north and to our south. Is that a feasible possibility? It is. We've seen it happen before, but not a guarantee. So we'll see probably a watch issued here for parts of our area this afternoon, and we'll have to watch radar going forward.
Okay, 2 questions. One,
sure.
Looking at the mesoscale, we talk about most of Virginia is covered in that. Can we bring that back up, Samantha, if you don't mind? I see that perhaps just before the very southeastern tip of Virginia Beach, that line just barely misses that. Now, does that mean that that area is devoid of maybe the harshest of those consequences?
No, this is just a rough estimate from the SPC when they put out this. They just circle an area. That will include all of our Virginia cities and counties probably here. And then that's going to get tossed down to our local office that's out in Wakefield, and they'll kind of decipher what the SPC is saying, and they'll tune back the watch if they need to, depending on how kind of conditions look.
And then, you emphasize the meaning of the watch. It sounds as though this is a semantic issue that you've encountered before.
Well, yeah, because when we get a watch out there, that means that the conditions are favorable. We have all the ingredients in place. We just need the storms to take advantage of them to become strong or severe, right? When we get the severe weather, that's when you get a warning coming on out.
Right.
It is happening at this time. Threats are imminent for a severe thunderstorm warning.
Right.
If we have a watch, it means we're going to be watching things.
Good to know. It's an important distinction, right? A watch and a warning. There are critical differences between the two. Okay, so going forward here, as we look to monitor whether there are going to be some major weather impacts, what are we looking at?
Well, we're just going to watch this. Actually, let's throw this up here. I've got satellite imagery, visible satellite. So one big thing that happens here quite often is we get the atmosphere to get a pretty good cap put on it. Basically what that is there's an inversion aloft, and we stop the rising of the air at a certain level, and it kind of puts the lid on severe thunderstorms developing. Sometimes we have that, and the cloud cover can be a sign of that. But you can see here in the last couple frames of visible satellite, we're getting some clearing beginning to work on in as you go between Richmond and, say, Williamsburg, and it is driving off to the south and east. So we see some sunshine come on through. Think of it this way. It's like turning the burner on a stove for a pot of water. Once the sun comes on out, that's going to start heating the ground. The ground is going to heat the air, and the air is going to start to rise. It's going to be the starting stages of that pot of water starting to boil. And once we get to the boil, that means thunderstorms are developing. So we'll watch for that to develop here later on this afternoon with more and more clearing working on in, more and more sunshine. We'll see the atmosphere become more unstable, and the possibility goes up for those strong to severe storms. So that's basically in real time what we're watching right now. And likely after this occurs for a couple hours, which is forecast to do, we'll start to see radar become a little more active with storms actually developing.
Okay, so we are on the lookout, and the
On the
good
lookout,
news
yeah.
is 2:30 p.m. right now. Tim Pandajis will be on at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Evan Stewart at 4 p.m. So check back in on 13 News Now for a more clear picture of what to expect and where to expect it, and when to expect it, quite frankly.
And you know what? I want to actually walk through here. So let's go over and talk about the various threats. So we talked about damaging winds being the strongest threat here, and let's look at that outlook now that's been updated. So here we have the actual, just the overall, right? So this is our day 1 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, level 2 out of 5, right? The entire area. When we break that down into the various threats, like gusty, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles an hour, that is still our highest threat. That's out of a 5-tiered system. That's at a level 3. You can see in the darker blue there that pretty much cuts off of the Chesapeake Expressway, points west, is under the highest threat there. When you get some more stability building in closer to the water, you see that threat kind of drop there, and storms start to weaken sometimes, but still the gusty, damaging wind threat is there. Now, I want to show you the tornado threat, because earlier today, it did show parts of our area seeing a higher threat in southeastern Virginia, northeastern North Carolina, but that has now shifted much farther to the west. Now, what does that mean? That means in real time, the better dynamics to support a tornadic thunderstorm has shifted farther to the west. That's good news for us. Doesn't mean we're completely out of the woods. You still see we have the lower risk, a 2% chance. And I know that seems like, oh, it's nothing. It's not zero. You want to have a 0% chance for an isolated tornado. So we don't have a non-zero chance. So that's what we're going to have to watch. Some of these storms can get a little bit frisky as we go on through the afternoon and evening hours. And the threat for any hail is very, very low. Large hail potential is really pretty much a subset off to our north and west, out towards Richmond and beyond from there. Not to say we couldn't see a few hailers come on through, but unlikely. It's going to be damaging winds and still the threat for some flooding downpours, very frequent lightning as well, and still that isolated tornado threat there. So those are the latest updates. Those came out a couple hours ago. SBC updates those for the day 1 outlook like twice a day when it's the day 1. So that's a little bit of an improvement for us here, so that's good.
Okay, good to know. So that is something that we were watching going into today, that threat for tornado. As far as our area goes, we're in a better place than maybe we thought we might be.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better, mainly off to the west.
And then just, we've got all of these storm systems that we're watching, these possibilities for severe weather that we're watching. And at the same time, it is sort of balmy out right now. A little bit warm, right? But nice.
That's a great observation, yes. So we've got a southwest wind out there. Humidity has been going on up, and that is a main ingredient for the storm. So as we're heating the air, right, the ground's getting heated, the air is getting heated, it's rising. Warm, moist air is just a little more buoyant, so that we're going to get those storms to really kind of develop through the afternoon hours when we have the humidity in place. That also aids in the frequent lightning and the heavy rainfall rates. 1 to 2 inch an hour tropical-like downpours are a symptom of high humidity.
So what you're feeling out there right now, it's all related.
It's all related.
Interconnected.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, very good, very good. What else you got for us?
Well, let's go back to radar here, because off to the west, we talked about that tornado threat, and we have got our first tornado warning of the afternoon. Now, this is out in West Virginia, so it's well off to the west there, but you can see there's a severe thunderstorm warning there with an embedded tornado warning in that red polygon there that's indicating the possibility, probably radar indicated, of a tornado. So the conditions there are a little bit more favorable. Again, very far away from our area, but it's starting to show that the atmosphere is beginning to ignite. Well, we've got a little bit more instability there, and we'll watch that whole line that's now drifting into the along the West Virginia state line, coming off to the south and east as we go through the rest of the afternoon. So right now, nothing to worry about, something just to watch as we go through later parts of today. And the likelihood is that the threat doesn't completely go away with the setting sun. So after dark, we could still have some stronger severe storms in play. So that just makes it even more important to have multiple ways of getting warnings, especially if it spreads into the later parts of tonight. And we got to get those warnings out and alert people.
Okay, that's what we're looking out for. That is what our meteorology team is working on as we speak right now. Do we want to look ahead? Do we want to do a little 5-day, 7-day action?
Well, I haven't gotten to the forecast yet, but it's still, it works. Let's go down to the 7. We'll do the 5-day. Why not?
Let's do a little.
So after we get past today, right? So that's not a weather impact alert for tomorrow. That's for today. It just kind of spread over into it. But once this clears out late tonight, I do expect a nice period of weather for the rest of the week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all looking nice. Temperatures coming in below normal. We should be in the upper 80s to near 90 this time of the year, mid to upper 80s pretty much. Low humidity, too. Behind this front, winds coming out of the north and west. That's going to drive down dew points, and it'll feel very comfortable out there for Wednesday, and especially Thursday in the mid 80s for highs. Now, the weekend's kind of split right now. We've got rain chances returning on Sunday, but we should squeeze out a nice first half on Saturday.
Okay, let's talk about that first half. Because that is, I'm getting questions. Connor, you know Tim Pandajis. You've met him personally.
Got the inside scoop.
Number one, they're like, pictures, autographs, could we get some stuff from him? But then number two, they're like, what about Saturday? We're in Virginia Beach, as you know. We are looking at, could we get a beach day in here? What time?
As of right now, again, it's Tuesday. Things can change. But right now, Saturday looks like the better half of the weekend. This past weekend, we had a 50-50 weekend, too. Sunday ended up being the better day, and it was gorgeous, great beach day. So it might be flipped around this go-around.
Okay, good to know. All right, a lot of possibilities here as we go forward with a very pleasant week. Is there anything else we need to know here from you, Tim?
No, I think that's it, Connor. I think we got to everything.
All right, Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis. Tim, on a day like today, coming in knowing that not only is it a weather impact alert, but it's one that you need to study very closely as it progresses. What's a day like that like for you? Is it, nice, we got a challenge here, let's take it on?
Well, yeah, I think as meteorologists, we enjoy tracking impactful weather, right? And keeping people informed about it happening. It's going to be a lot of radar babysitting tonight, watching how radar performs, nowcasting is what we call it, and see how things play on out. Models, I tell you what, models have not been all that helpful, okay? We get runs that come out several times a day, and sometimes they are flip-flopping right up to 24 hours out ahead of the system. So they're great to have as a tool in our toolkit, but you can't completely rely on those because they just are becoming a little bit unreliable lately. So we're going to have to watch how things play out on radar this afternoon.
Okay, using the full breadth of the resources that you
Our
have
entire
before
toolkit.
you. The entire toolkit. Well, listen, there's no more important resource for us here on Live Impact News and at 13 News Now than the Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis. Tim, first time on Live Impact News. Yeah, absolutely.
I hope you'll have me back. Yeah.
So you are invited literally anytime. Feel free to pop in here. You don't even have to text us. You don't have to email us.
Come around the corner.
Come strolling around. We'll bring you on and we'll do some things. That's Tim Pandajis with your update. And today, as much as any day, important to tune back in at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock as they are, what'd you call it, radar sitting?
Radar sitting.
Radar sitting, and they will be doing so for the rest of the day. All right.